I sat in my living room in Tulsa, scrolling through my phone, when I saw it, a short Reels video my son-in-law Kyle had posted. There I was, Henry Wards, fumbling around my own house like some confused old fool. He captured me pausing mid-step, scratching my head over nothing, and edited it with goofy sounds to make me look like a buffoon. The caption read, "Grandpa's Daily Chaos, tag a senior who needs this laugh." Views were climbing fast, and the comments flooded in, LMAO, classic grandpa fail, and this is gold, more please. My daughter Maya, who lived with us, didn't say a word publicly, but I noticed her like on the post, quietly boosting the hype. It stung, but I kept my face straight that I closed the app on my phone and set it down on the coffee table, the video still replaying in my mind. There I was, Henry Wards, reduced to a punchline in my own home. Kyle had snuck around with his camera, catching those split-second moments anyone might have, me glancing around for a misplaced key or hesitating on a recipe tweak, and twisted them into comedy gold. The likes and shares kept pouring in, mostly from strangers who didn't know the man behind the edit. Maya, my only daughter, had seen it all. She shared the house with Kyle and their young family, but her silent endorsement via that like felt like a deeper cut. I could picture her scrolling through the comments, maybe even smiling at a few. At 64, I'd built Ward's table from a backyard grill setup into a respected catering business serving Tulsa's events, weddings, and corporate gigs. And now this. But I didn't lash out. No raised voice, no accusations hurled across the dinner table. Instead, I leaned back in my armchair, the one with the worn leather from years of late-night planning sessions, and let the insult settle. Anger would cloud things, and I needed clarity. My mind drifted to the years I'd propped them up. It started small, back when Maya and Kyle were newlyweds with big dreams but empty pockets. They wanted to launch a food truck, something trendy with fusion tacos and local flavors. The bank laughed them off, no collateral, no credit history worth a dime. So I stepped in. I co-signed the lease for their first truck, putting my name on the line for that $15,000 down payment. "Dad, you're a lifesaver," Maya had said, hugging me tight. Kyle shook my hand, eyes wide with gratitude. That was just the beginning. Insurance came next, sky-high rates for a mobile operation. I covered the premiums for the first 2 years, pulling from Ward's table profits without a second thought. It's an investment in family, I told myself. Then, as their truck gained traction but space became an issue, I offered more. Our house in Tulsa had that big master bedroom on the main floor, the one with the ensuite bath and view of the garden. I'd moved to the smaller guest room upstairs without complaint. "Take it," I said. "You two need the stability with the baby on the way." They accepted, of course, turning it into their sanctuary while I adapted to the stairs. Over time, the help added up, repairs on the truck after a fender bender, marketing flyers I designed using old contacts from the business, even bridging gaps in their payroll when slow months hit. Ward's table wasn't just mine anymore, it felt like the family's safety net, even if they never said it outright. I stood up slowly, walked to the kitchen, and poured a glass of water. The house was quiet, Maya and Kyle out running errands, the grandkids at school. Staring out the window at the backyard where I'd hosted countless barbecues, I replayed the video again in my head. The laughs weren't at me, they were at the caricature Kyle crafted. But why? Views, he'd admit later if pressed. Their food truck was scraping by, and social media was their lifeline. A viral hit could mean sponsors, collabs, a boost to turn Taco Haven into something bigger. Maya, ever the supporter, went along. Yet here I was, the butt of the joke, my dignity traded for their algorithm points. I decided then, no drama, no family blowout. Cold and legal, that's how I'd handle it. Anger fades, but actions stick. I'd supported them not for praise, but because that's what fathers do. Maya was my world since her mother passed a decade ago, and Kyle, well, he'd grown on me like an unexpected spice in a dish. But trust has limits. If they saw me as expendable, a prop for content, then it was time to protect what I'd built. Ward's Table wasn't a toy, it was my legacy, feeding hundreds weekly with honest, hearty meals. I'd start gathering proof, not out of spite, but self-preservation. Receipts, emails, bank transfers, everything showing the scales I'd tipped in their favor. Let them think I was the doting dad a while longer. By the time they realized the shift, it would be too late to reel back. The front door clicked open, pulling me from my thoughts. Kyle bounded in first, phone in hand, checking notifications. "Hey, Henry." Videos blowing up, over 50K views now. His grin was wide, genuine in his excitement. Maya followed, carrying grocery bags, her eyes flicking to me with a mix of caution and affection. "Dad, you okay?" It was just a fun clip. I nodded, forcing a small smile. "All good. What's for dinner?" We moved through the evening routine, helping with the kids' homework, prepping a simple meal from the truck's leftovers. But inside, my resolve hardened. I'd play the part, but the gears were turning. Tomorrow, I'd reach out to my lawyer in Austin, the one who'd handled the business incorporation years back. No rush, no panic. Just steady steps toward securing my future, and cutting loose those who'd turned gratitude into exploitation. As night fell, I lay in my upstairs room, the house settling around me. The video's sting lingered, but so did the memories of their early struggles. I'd given freely, but giving doesn't mean surrender. Cold and legal. That's the path. By morning, I'd begin compiling the files, starting with that cosign agreement from 5 years ago. The truth of my contributions would speak louder than any edited reel. The next morning, I woke early, the Tulsa sun filtering through the curtains of my upstairs room. Coffee in hand, I settled at the kitchen table with my laptop, the house still quiet before the family stirred. The video lingered in my thoughts, but I'd pushed it aside to focus on action. First things first, the family group chat. It was our digital hub, me, Maya, Kyle, and even the kids with their occasional emojis. We'd shared everything from birthday plans to business updates there. Ward's Table updates, especially. My catering business had been the backbone for years, handling everything from intimate dinners to large-scale events. At 64, I still oversaw operations, but the hint of handover had been brewing subtly. My phone buzzed with a new message from Kyle. I opened the chat to see his post from overnight. "Hey fam, quick thought, Henry's hitting 64 soon. Ward's Table has been amazing under his watch, but maybe it's time to pass the reins. Fresh ideas could take it next level. What do you all think?" Smiling face with smiling eyes, attached was a photo of the business logo, our old school sign with the steaming plate emblem. The words hit like a subtle jab, wrapped in casual emojis. Pass the reins. As if I'd been clinging too long, as if my experience was outdated. Maya chimed in right after, "Love the idea. Dad's built something great, time for new energy." No direct mention of the video, but the timing felt connected, like they saw me as the buffoon from the reel, ready to step aside. I stared at the screen, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to call them out, to type back that I'd poured my life into Ward's Table since starting it in my 30s, turning it from a side hustle into a Tulsa staple with loyal clients and a waitlist for holidays. But no. I kept it measured. "Sounds worth discussing," I replied. "Let's talk Saturday over brunch. I've got some thoughts." Neutral, open. Kyle responded quickly, "Perfect. Saturday it is." Excited. Maya added a thumbs up. The kids tossed in unrelated stickers, oblivious. To them, it looked like normal family planning. But I knew better. This wasn't just chit-chat, it was a probe, testing if I'd yield control easily. I set the phone down and shifted to the real work. Quietly, methodically, I began gathering documents. Starting with the digital files on my laptop, payment records from the last 5 years. There were the bank statements showing transfers to their food truck account, $2,500 here for equipment upgrades, $1,800 there for a licensing fee. Emails too, threads where I'd advised on recipes or connected them with suppliers from Ward's Table network. Then the co-sign agreement for the truck lease, scanned and saved, my signature bold beside theirs. I printed copies, organized them into folders labeled by date. Next, the messages, screenshots from the group chat itself, like the one where Kyle thanked me profusely after I covered an insurance hike. "Henry, you're the real MVP. Couldn't do this without you." Two-faced, indeed. They'd lean on me when needed, then hint at sidelining me for fresh ideas. By midday, the family was up. Kyle came down first, humming as he grabbed cereal. "Saw your reply, Saturday's gonna be productive." He clapped me on the shoulder, his energy high from the video's momentum. I nodded, playing along. Looking forward to it. Maya joined us, scrolling her phone, probably checking views. "Dad, the chat's buzzing. Good call on Saturday." We ate together, the grandkids chattering about school. Surface level, everything fine. But as they headed out for the truck's lunch run, I continued my prep. Physical records next, pulling files from the home office cabinet. Invoices for the master bedroom reno I'd funded so they could use it comfortably, receipts for truck repairs after that storm 2 years back. Every detail painted the picture of my support, unwavering, undocumented until now. Afternoon brought a call from an old client, confirming a catering order for Ward's Table. I handled it smoothly, jotting notes, my mind sharp. No confusion here, just purpose. Kyle's hint rankled because Ward's Table wasn't just a business, it was my anchor after losing my wife. Maya had helped in her teens, learning recipes at my side. Kyle joined later, bringing enthusiasm but little equity. Passing the reins? Not without truth on the table. I cross-referenced everything, timelines of their asks against my responses. A message from Maya 3 years ago: "Dad, can Ward's cover the truck's marketing budget? We'll pay back." They hadn't, fully. It all stacked up, a ledger of generosity met with opportunism. As evening approached, I emailed my lawyer in Austin, attaching the initial batch of docs. "Need advice on business succession and protections," I wrote. "No details yet, just enough to start the wheels." Dinner was routine, reheated truck specials, family talk about the day. Kyle mentioned the video again, views at 100K. It's opening doors. I smiled faintly. Glad it's working out. Inside, the cold plan solidified. Saturday's discussion would be on my terms, armed with facts. They'd pushed for control, but I'd reveal the full weight of their reliance. Not anger, just accountability. By then, the documents would be ironclad, ready to shift the dynamic. Night came, and I reviewed the folders one last time. The group chat stayed quiet after my reply, anticipation building. Kyle's hint had lit the fuse, but I controlled the burn. Ward's Table remained mine, and the records proved why. Saturday loomed, but my moves were already ahead. Friday morning arrived with a crisp Tulsa chill, the kind that sharpened my focus as I packed a small overnight bag. The house hummed with routine, Kyle prepping the food truck in the driveway, Maya corralling the kids for school drop-off. I waved goodbye casually, mentioning a quick business trip to Austin without fanfare. No need to alert them, this was my move, deliberate and private. Ward's Table could run on autopilot for a day. My trusted manager, Elena, handled the orders via phone. As I drove south on I-35, the highway stretched out, giving me time to reflect on the path that led here. At 64, I'd always planned for the business's future, but not like this. Kyle's video and chat hint had accelerated everything, turning vague succession thoughts into urgent protection. Austin welcomed me with its familiar bustle. I checked into a modest hotel near the Capitol, then headed straight to my lawyer's office downtown. Tom Riley had been my advisor since the early days of Ward's Table, a no-nonsense type with wire-rimmed glasses and a stack of legal pads always at the ready. His firm occupied the third floor of a brick building, the air scented with fresh coffee and printer ink. "Henry, good to see you," he greeted, shaking my hand firmly. We settled in his conference room, sunlight slanting through blinds onto the polished oak table. I'd emailed him the documents earlier, payment records, messages, the co-sign agreements. He reviewed them quickly, nodding. "You've been generous. This trust will safeguard it all." We dove in. The Ward Family Trust, my design, named for legacy but now redefined. I was the lifetime trustee, holding full control during my years. Income from Ward's Table would sustain me, cover operations, and allow for personal needs. Upon my death, everything transferred seamlessly: the business assets, equipment, client lists, even the commercial kitchen lease. But not to family. The beneficiary was the Central Texas Hunger Relief Fund, a nonprofit I'd supported quietly for years. They fed the underserved in Austin and beyond, aligning with the heart of what Ward's Table stood for: nourishing communities. Maya and Kyle? Excluded entirely. No shares, no overrides, no claims. Tom explained the structure: irrevocable once signed, assets moved from my personal ownership into the trust. Creditors couldn't touch it, nor could family disputes. "This puts it beyond reach," he said. Smart, given the context. I signed the documents methodically, initials on each page, full signature on the trustee declaration. The pen felt heavy, final. Tom notarized it all, stamping seals with precise thuds. We reviewed contingencies: what if I needed to adjust for health? Built-in flexibility, but core protections locked. By noon, it was done. Copies went into my briefcase, originals filed with the court. Lunch was simple: a sandwich from a nearby deli, where I sat alone, watching pedestrians. Relief washed over me, mixed with a pang for Maya. She'd been my joy, helping in the kitchen as a girl, her laughter echoing through test runs of family recipes. But her silence on the video, her quick agreement to pass the reins, showed a shift. Kyle's influence, perhaps, or their ambitions outgrowing gratitude. The trust wasn't punishment, it was preservation. Ward's Table would continue feeding people, not egos. Driving back to Tulsa that afternoon, the Texas landscape blurred past, rolling hills giving way to plains. My phone stayed silent, no group chat pings, just a text from Elena confirming a successful catering delivery. I arrived home as dusk fell, the food truck parked and the family inside. Kyle greeted me at the door, curious. "How'd Austin go?" I shrugged. "Paperwork sorted. Nothing exciting." Maya set the table, the kids chattering about their day. Dinner unfolded normally, shared stories, a laugh over a school mishap. But I watched them closely, noting Kyle's glances at his phone, probably tracking video metrics. They had no inkling of the trust, of how I'd just drawn a line. That evening, after the house quieted, I played up the forgetfulness. It started small, in the living room. I reached for my glasses, which sat perched on my nose, squinting dramatically. Where'd I put them? Kyle chuckled from the couch, Maya glancing over with a soft smile. "Right there, Dad." I feigned surprise, adjusting them. "Oh, right." Slipping a bit. Then, in the kitchen, reviewing the next day's Ward's Table schedule on my tablet. I mixed up an order, swapping a wedding menu for a corporate luncheon. "Wait, is this the fish or the beef?" I asked aloud, though I knew perfectly. Maya helped correct it, her tone patient. Kyle joined, suggesting tweaks, his eyes lighting with ideas, perhaps seeing an opening. Behind the thin wall separating the kitchen from the hallway, their whispers carried. I pretended to rinse dishes, ear tuned. "He's getting worse," Kyle murmured. That video wasn't far off. "We should look into state evaluation, guardianship could speed things up." Maya's voice, hesitant but agreeing, "Yeah, for the business. If he's counting days, we need access soon." My heart tightened, but I kept washing, face neutral. Guardianship? They'd twist my forgetfulness into incapacity, positioning for control. The trust made that impossible now, assets untouchable. My decisions sovereign. I dried my hands, called goodnight, and headed upstairs, briefcase secured. Lying in bed, the day's weight settled. The signing had empowered me, the whispers confirmed the need. They'd whispered of evaluation, but I'd built a fortress. Ward's table was safe, destined for good. Sleep came easier, the cold legal path clear. Tomorrow, more play acting, but the real game was mine. Saturday passed in a haze of routine, but Sunday brought the first cracks in their plan. I woke to the sound of the coffee maker gurgling downstairs, the Tulsa house alive with the weekend bustle. Ward's table had a light day, Elena managed a small brunch event without issue, and I kept up the subtle act of forgetfulness. Over breakfast, I asked Kyle about the food truck schedule twice, as if I'd forgotten our earlier chat. "Oh, right, the market run," I said, nodding slowly. Maya exchanged a look with him, her concern deepening. Kyle played it cool, but I caught him typing on his phone later, probably updating his socials. The video's views had plateaued at around 150K, but he chased the high, posting follow-ups with more grandpa moments from around the house. I let him, knowing the exposure would soon backfire. By midweek, the twist unfolded. It started with my phone notifications pinging unusually, tags from local Tulsa foodie accounts. Curious, I opened Instagram to find a post from Chef Lena Voss, a prominent blogger who'd built a following deconstructing viral food content. Her handle, @TulsaTasteTest, had over 200K followers, known for calling out fakes in the industry. The video she'd shared was Kyle's reel, but overlaid with her analysis. "Let's break this down," her caption read. "Cute grandpa clip? Or edited bait? Watch closely." She paused the footage frame by frame, zooming in on timestamps and cuts. What Kyle presented as spontaneous chaos was revealed as staged, added sound effects masking spliced clips, my confused pauses extended artificially. Worse, she highlighted fake client messages in the comments, bots or bot interactions inflating engagement. Views padded with 30% fake accounts, she noted. And those hilarious reactions? Stock footage from meme libraries. The deconstruction went viral in its own right, racking up shares among Tulsa's creator community. Comments shifted, "This is manipulative," "Poor guy looks exploited," one read. "Exposed." Unsubbing from the truck account. Kyle's excitement soured fast. I overheard him in the kitchen that evening, voice tense. "It's blowing up wrong, Lena's ruining it." Maya tried soothing him, but doubt crept in. "Maybe we should have asked Dad first." I stayed out of sight, pretending to read the paper, but inside, vindication settled. The blogger's takedown came 3 days after the original post, timed perfectly as their hype peaked. Ward's table clients even messaged me, concerned, "Henry, saw that video, everything okay?" I assured them it was fine, subtly steering conversation to our upcoming events. Meanwhile, their financial push crumbled. Kyle and Maya had been banking on the video's buzz to secure a loan for expanding the food truck into a second location. I'd overheard whispers about it midweek, approaching the bank with projections tied to future control of Ward's table assets. They figured my decline would make me amenable to co-signing again, perhaps even pledging business collateral. But the trust changed everything. When they submitted the application, the bank reviewed my ownership status. Assets now locked in the irrevocable Ward family trust, untouchable for loans or liens. The rejection email arrived Thursday afternoon. I glimpsed it on Kyle's laptop when he left it open in the living room. Insufficient collateral, assets restricted per trust documents, it stated plainly. No appeal possible without my direct involvement, which I had no intention of providing. Kyle paced that night, phone glued to his ear, arguing with the loan officer. But we're family, Henry's on board. The denial hit hard, their expansion dreams deflated. Maya comforted him, but tension thickened the air. Dinner was strained, conversations short. I played my part, forgetting to pass the salt. Earning a sigh from Maya. Dad, you okay? Maybe we should see about that checkup. Behind closed doors, their strategy shifted. I caught fragments, discussions of accelerating the state evaluation, pushing for guardianship to bypass the trust. But the blogger's exposure made that riskier. Public scrutiny now painted them as opportunists, not sympathetic family. By Friday, the fallout ripened. Local news picked up Lena's thread, a short article on Tulsa's food scene ethics. Viral video backlash, family content or exploitation, it asked. Shares hit food truck forums, where competitors whispered about boycotts. Their Taco Haven account lost followers daily, sponsors ghosting inquiries. I monitored it quietly, responding to concerned friends with calm deflection, just a misunderstanding, families passionate about content. The trust's wisdom shone clearer, without it, they might have pressured me into unwise endorsements. Now, assets safe, Ward's Table thrived independently, bookings up, even, as clients rallied around the real story leaking out. As the week closed, I prepared for Sunday's negotiations. The documents waited in my briefcase, trust papers, payment ledgers, chat screenshots. Their whispers of guardianship echoed, but the twist had weakened them. The videos pick up by the blogger, the loan rejection, it all converged, exposing cracks. Kyle's quick fame turned to quicksand, pulling their plans under. I felt no glee, just resolve. At 64, I'd navigated worse, losing my wife, building the business solo. This was protection, not revenge. Sunday loomed, the table set for truth. They'd pushed for reins, I'd hand them reality. The house settled that night, but my mind raced ahead. The unexpected exposure bought time, the bank's wall held firm. Guardianship talk faded as damage control consumed them. Ward's Table, my life's work, stood secure, destined for hunger relief, not hasty hands. The twist wasn't luck, it was the universe aligning with careful steps. Sunday morning dawned bright over Tulsa, the air carrying a hint of autumn as I rose early. The house was still, but I knew the day would bring the confrontation we'd all circled. Ward's Table had no event scheduled, leaving the calendar open for this negotiation brunch Kyle had pushed in the group chat. I'd set the table myself the night before, simple spread of fresh fruits, pastries from a local bakery, and coffee brewing strong. No grand gestures, just enough to keep things civil. My briefcase sat in the study, contents organized, the trust document freshly printed, payment statements bound neatly, correspondence printed in chronological order. The recording device, small and discreet, waited in my pocket, a backup from their hallway whispers earlier in the week. At 64, I'd learned preparation turned tides, and today, the truth would flow like a well-timed pour of gravy. The family gathered around 10 a.m., the grandkids excused to the backyard with toys after a quick hello. Kyle arrived first from the kitchen, plate in hand, his usual energy dimmed by the week's setbacks. The blogger's deconstruction still echoed online, with Taco Haven's followers down 20%. Maya followed, her face tight, avoiding my eyes as she poured juice. "Dad, thanks for hosting," she said softly. I nodded, taking my seat at the head. "Of course. Let's talk business." We ate in fits, bites between awkward pauses, until Kyle broached it. "So, about passing the reins. Ward's Table is solid, but with fresh eyes." He trailed off, glancing at Maya for support. She nodded. "We could modernize, social media, pop-ups." I let the moment hang, then reached for the briefcase I'd placed nearby. Before we go further, I have some things to share. I slid the trust document across first, the Ward Family Trust, its pages crisp. Signed this Friday in Austin. I'm lifetime trustee. Assets transfer to Central Texas Hunger Relief upon my death. You're both excluded. Kyle's fork paused mid-air, eyes widening. Maya leaned in, scanning the beneficiary clause. Dad, what? Why? Her voice cracked, surprise genuine. I kept my tone even. Protection. For the business's future. Next came the payment statements, ledgers of transfers. $15,000 for the truck lease co-sign, $4,200 in insurance premiums over 2 years, $3,000 for repairs and marketing gaps. Each highlighted, dates matching their old thank yous. They shifted uncomfortably as I laid out the correspondence, printed emails where I'd connected them to suppliers, group chat screenshots of their requests met with my yes. I've supported you every step, I said. From the master bedroom handover to bridging payroll. But the video, the hints, it's shifted things. Kyle recovered first, setting his plate down. Henry, come on. We're family. At least give us a consulting role, oversight on operations. His pitch was smooth, eyes pleading for a foothold. Maya chimed in, Dad, we just want to help. You're getting older. The words echoed their whispers, but I was ready. I pulled out my phone, hit play on the recording. Their voices filled the room, tinny but clear from behind that thin wall. Kyle's murmur about state evaluation and quick guardianship, Maya's hesitant agreement on accessing the business soon. The brunch table froze. Kyle's face paled. That's out of context. Maya stared at the tablecloth, tears welling. Dad, we were worried. The forgetfulness. I paused the audio, meeting their gazes. Worried enough to plan around me. But the trust is done, irrevocable. And with the loan rejection this week, you'll see why boundaries matter. The bank's email copy joined the pile, collateral restrictions glaring. Silence stretched, broken only by a distant laugh from the kids outside. Kyle pushed back his chair slightly. This is extreme. After everything? I shook my head. Not extreme. Fair. You've built your truck, but Ward's table is mine, earned over decades. Maya wiped her eyes. What now? I leaned forward, voice steady. Move out by week's end. The master bedroom reverts to me. Grandkids can visit, but space is needed. No yelling, no accusations, just facts, delivered calmly. The video's humiliation flashed in my mind, but I pushed it down. She humiliated me for views, I added quietly, nodding to Maya, but the truth came out 3 days later, with the blogger's exposure. They sat stunned as I gathered the documents. Kyle muttered about legal reviews, but the trust structure left no leverage. Maya reached for my hand, but I gently pulled away. This isn't the end of family, I said. Just the business ties. Brunch wrapped abruptly, plates cleared half-eaten, excuses about the kids. As they filed out to pack mental bags, I stood at the window, watching the backyard. Relief mixed with sorrow, Maya was still my daughter, but trust rebuilt slowly. The negotiations ended not with handover, but clarity. Ward's table stayed mine, safe for its true purpose. By afternoon, the house felt lighter, their things already shuffling. I called Elena to confirm Monday's schedule, my mind sharp. The recording, the papers, they'd spoken louder than shouts. Guardianship dreams dashed, loans blocked, video backfired. At 64, I'd reclaimed control, not through anger, but precision. The Hunger Fund would carry the legacy forward, feeding those in need. Family? That was a separate recipe, one we'd simmer over time, the week after Sunday's brunch passed in quiet efficiency. I watched from the kitchen window as Maya and Kyle packed their SUV, the master bedroom stripped back to its original setup. Boxes of their belongings lined the driveway, the grandkids waving goodbye with confused smiles. "Bye, Grandpa," they called, and I hugged them tight, promising weekend visits. Maya lingered last, eyes red-rimmed. "Dad, I'm sorry. We got carried away." I nodded, no warmth but no ice. "Time will tell." Kyle loaded the last bag, avoiding my gaze, the weight of the trust and recording still fresh. By Friday, the house echoed emptily, but Ward's table buzzed. Elena reported record bookings, clients drawn by the authentic vibe leaking from the blogger's fallout. I settled into the master bedroom again, the space feeling like reclaiming old ground. No more whispers behind walls, just my steady routine. The video's sting faded as Kyle's account limped, sponsors vanished amid the exposure. Their lone dreams stalled, forcing a pivot back to the food truck basics. I filed the documents away, the trust a silent guardian. At 64, I'd dodged a handover to opportunism, securing Ward's table for the Hunger Relief Fund, meals for those truly in need, not family schemes. Sorrow lingered for Maya, but boundaries brought peace. Family dinners could resume, on equal terms. The truth had surfaced, unedited and unbreakable.